So the second topic is difference of prison from antiquity to modernity. Prison from antiquity. From the birth of modern civilization and third millennia BC, almost every major ancient civilization used concept of prisons as a mean to detain and remove personal freedoms of incarcerated people. In those early periods of history, prisons were often used as a temporary stopgap before sentencing to death life of slavery. But as time went on, our civilization developed prisons are started morphing into correctional facilities that started implementing the concept of rehabilitation and reform prison. Balik to. Ancient Roman Empire, however, continued to use harsher methods. Their prisons were built almost exclusively underground with tight and uh, claustrophobic passageway and cells. Prisoners themselves were held either in simple cells or chained to the walls for life, or for time, as slavery was accepted norm in those days. Majority of prisoners that were not sentenced to death were said were sold as slaves or used by the Roman government as workforce. So it is not is it is common for us the during those ancient times like Roman Empire, if 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 a person can offend or can do criminal acts, he will be going a slavery system. Slavery is you will be serving peoples in like uh, officials during those times, and the worst is they have their death penalties like we all know today. One of the famous uses of the slave Roman Empire was as a gladiators. In addition, in fighting in the arena, sometimes after a lifetime of training in the special gladiator training houses or ludices, many slaves were tasked to support workforce that enables motor run of populatory gladiator business. Prisons from modernity. The age of modernity prison that we know today started with the several prison reforms in 19th century in England. Wars that engulfed the world in beginning 20th century brought the formation of large amount of prison camps and con- concentration camps. Most famous example of those types of prison happened during the World War II, when Nazi government formed over 300 detention centers in which political opponents, Jews, uh, gypsies, so Egyptians, criminals, and others were detained without judicial process. During those times, when you are detained, there is no judicial process because of the situation, World War. Majority of them was eventually killed on an unprecedented massive scale that is today estimated to be between 11 and 17 million people. Prisons and imprisonment in the ancient world punishment used to maintain public order. One of the most well-known forms of punishment today is imprisonment. One could argue that for any society to function properly, public order has to be maintained. Uh, During this time, prisoners started receiving more care. Concept of rehabilitation has introduced. Why is prison good for society? Third topic, that's the way we always dealt with offenders. Criminals deserve to be put away for their crimes. Prison work because it keeps those criminals out of circulation and acts as society's most effective deterrent. Our prison may be more crowded than ever. The prison population of England and Wales, for example, has more than doubled in 20 years, but our crime rate has steadily fallen. Pro- Proponents of prison would argue that incar- incarceration works rehabilitation as well and good, but the fundamental purpose of prison is to protect public and to punish those who have done wrong. So the the purpose of prison is to protect the public, the people, and to punish those who have done wrong. So it is important to separate criminals from the society because if 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 we cannot separate them, there there's always chaos in the society, and it, it can harm people or properties. So it is important to punish those who have done wrong. Effectivity of imprisonment. The incapacitative effect of imprisonment presents a compelling logic. While in prison, an offender cannot offend the community. Clara. Imprisonment are effective and help prisoners changing from criminals to law-abiding citizens. Public can play a big role in making their life better. Prison offer very special courses to rehabilitate them. Intensive courses are also offered to help prisoners overcoming their drug problems. So, an important function of the state and one of the ways this goal is achieved is through laws. Laws have also been broken since they emerged and punishments have been provided either as a form of retribution or as deterrent to would-be lawbreakers. Next. Prison is the best form of punishment. Uh, Imprisonment is probably the worst way to punish criminals. Prison breeds crimes. People see prison as an appropriate punishment, but the principal aim of sentencing should be reducing crime, not punishing. Society is to best served as reducing crime, not by endless punishing those who commit, just so as not to be solved. So, for me, rehabilitation is all well and good, But the fundamental purpose of prison is to protect the public and to punish who have done wrong. There are good reasons to think prisons might prevent crime. The experience of imprisonment could deter someone from committing crimes to avoid prison in the future. Prison might provide opportunities for rehabilitation such as drug and alcohol treatment, education and counseling, and that is, and the very least, someone who is in prison cannot commit a crime in the community. So, in prison, they are provided with opportunities for rehabilitation where they can undergo education or counseling, and the most common is the religious activity in prison.